What's up, everybody? What's up? So I am I'm down here in my little my podcast room. That's why I got all these little signs and pictures and everything up behind me. But this is what happens when school is canceled and I gotta work from home. I started doing things like picking up books when I get done a little earlier and start reading, start hopping into things, right? And so um I don't know. I just kind of got up this morning. I'm looking at social media and I'm looking at all these things. And, sometimes I get into these spaces where I got to quiet the world. And I'm like, I need to take a sec. Let me read. And so I hopped in my book here, A Leader of Purpose and Power. And I wanted to read this and I'll go on after, but it was important for me to just start here. It says the greatest leadership seems to surface during times of personal, social, economic, political, and spiritual conflict. History has produced a legacy of outstanding leaders who have impacted the world and furthered the development of humanity. They were both men and women, rich and poor, learned and unlearned, trained and untrained. They came from every race, color, language, and culture of the world. Many of them had no ambition to become great or renowned, but were victims of circumstance. They did not intend to be leaders, but the demands of life ignited a sleeping spirit within them. In fact, most of the individuals who have greatly affected humanity have been simple people who were thrust into situations that called for the hidden qualities of their characters, which subsequently inspired confidence and trust within others, or they were driven by personal and passionate goals. Um, the part that really stick out to me on this, and I got to be honest, and again, this is me talking, right? It said many of these folks who became extraordinary leaders had no ambition to become great or renowned, but were victims of circumstance. Um, Y'all just bear with me. Trying to think about how to even roll into this. Even as it comes to me and this run for mayor, it was all a product of circumstance and the things that I was a victim of, the things that I was exposed to, and I know my mom kind of hates when I get into, even talking about the times we were homeless, because while they weren't long drawn out times, they happened. And it allowed me to see a part of this world that most people don't get to see. Well, I mean, a lot of people do get to see, but in the grand scheme of things, a real struggle. And there's all this talk about what Donald Trump's doing, these executive orders that he's signing, all these things. I'm not here to tell y'all things are going to be perfect. I'm not here to tell you to unplug from social media. I'm not here to tell you to stop watching this dude. No, we need to watch him. We need to know. We need to continue to study our opponent, continue to know what we're up against. Where we are is, and I don't know how frank to be with y'all, right? And I'm trying to walk this line in terms of how I say things, but it's time for community organizers to become candidates for public office. Period. That's in the smallest ways. That's where we are. We've played this game with other folks. We've sat back and waited for the people who've had the amazing resumes put together. We sat back and waited on these folks. I'm here to tell y'all, our community, my community, your community needs a different type of leader right now. They're going to need some folks to stand up in some uncomfortable times. And we are going to go through some hard times. It's almost like so many people forgot. Everybody kind of remembers bits and pieces of 2020, but they forget about 2016, 2015, everything that kind of set the stage for Donald Trump's first election. And it's like, y'all, it's time for people of good conscience and good faith to step up, period. Like, I'm over this conversation of who's qualified, who's unqualified, who put in the work, who didn't put in the work. I was talking to young lady yesterday, and she says, "Man, I'm pulling up the Spelman. I'm helping kids get groceries. I'm doing everything that I can. Somebody like me can't run for public office because I don't broadcast what I'm doing. I don't tell everybody what I'm doing. I just do it. Listen, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. My daughter's former principal, when she came on that stage to endorse me, everything that I didn't say about the work that I was doing, she said on that stage. It's time to let the community do the speaking. It's time to let the community do the talking. Excuse me. Got a little cold. I think it was from doing that announcement out there at the King Center in freezing temperatures, y'all. But listen, it's on us, people of good conscience, good faith, and I'm gonna keep saying that because I see these people. I see them every day at the marches, right? We saw them lined up for the MLK March on Monday. We see these people all around. It's time for y'all to start getting ready to run. I'm being honest. It's time for us in Georgia and North Fulton to start building a bench. I'm being as honest as I can right now. Everybody's worried about 2026. I'm here to tell you, if we don't win in 2025, there is no 2026, period. We got to stack the deck. And not sure how the quality looks on your side. I'm hoping it looks pretty good. I'm streaming to multiple platforms right now. But I'm here to talk to the small business owners, the community organizers, everybody that makes up the fragments of our community that don't see themselves as being worthy enough to run, don't think that they can make the impact. It is time to make an impact. It's time to run. There's what we're seeing, and again, I'm trying to be as PC as possible here, y'all. I'm trying my hardest. What we're seeing is people who are being elected who don't have the courage to stand 10 toes down on the needs of the community. That's what we need, right? It's like in the city that I live in, everybody looks at Sandy Springs and they see money, they see development. You know what I see? I see the 45 city employees that resigned in 9 months because of the disorganization inside that nobody sees, few talk about. Listen, y'all, the things that we see spill out into the street, they're spilling out because of the chaos inside of some of these city halls, inside of these buildings. Housing affordability, as much as they wanted to make this a federal issue, it is a local issue. Those building permits, zoning, all that comes from City Hall. And so if we're talking about what our community looks like, if we're talking about why our voices don't matter, we have to look at what's happening in our city halls. The reason why I'm harping on city halls, and I'm just going to be frank here, is because we heard Donald Trump in his whole states' rights, states' rights, states' rights, states' rights, states' rights, states' rights, states' rights speech, right? We heard all that. What I'm here to say is that what this guy's going to do is he's going to kick all this stuff that's been a pain in the rear federally, right? These issues, women's rights, all these things, you're seeing it. He's going to make everything a state's issue. That's what it's going to come to. It's going to be a state's issue. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. These governors ain't gonna want to deal with all this stuff. So they're gonna kick it back to the municipalities. Where does that leave us? Civil rights movement, segregation. Like, of course, it'll be different issues, right? But in terms of what that outcome is going to look like, it's going to look very similar to that. And so when I say this is not a time to be scared, this is not a time to be fearful, and of course, be angry, but we got to be strategic. We got to start running, folks. And I'm going to keep saying it. I sat over there. I've served the last 3 years as the chair of the North Fulton Dems, served alongside Attorney Griggs in the NAACP. Most of us in these organizations who are serving know what went right. We know what went wrong. What I'm saying is now's not a time to debate. Now's not a time to point fingers. Now is a time for us to come together and figure out what do we need to do to put these safeguards in place. You know, when I got out and I ran back in 2020, and I got to say these things, right? Because, you know, I got folks forwarding me text messages where certain politicians are like, he live in Sandy Springs, why is he announcing he running for mayor at the King Center? Well, it's about sending a message, period. It's about sending a message. It's about letting them know, see, and I say a message because when I ran for mayor the first time back in 2021, and I got death threats. I couldn't even be in a place of fearing this guy telling me that my daughter's going to be growing up without a father, simply because I was more fearful of leaving a world off for my daughter much worse than what I inherited. And what do I mean by that? My daughter right now has less rights than her mother had when she was born. That's a problem for me. They're stripping away voting rights that my ancestors fought for. That's a problem for me. What does that mean, right? That means the joys of y'all getting good jobs is gone, right? Because I don't know if most people know it, right? But who are the biggest employers of minorities? The government. I'm just gonna be honest with you. What did he just do yesterday? He signed an executive order saying, hey, we're taking this affirmative action like policy out of the way. And so folks get upset and they're like, why are you getting political? Why are you getting political? Why are you getting political? Look, man, these lights that I'm using right now, that's all politics, right? Deciding how bright they get, all these things, it's all politics. This vitamin water that I'm about to take a sip of, what stores it goes into, it's all politics. And so I don't understand this whole conversation about why are you being so political? Our lives are political. And so we got to have a real conversation about what politics in this nation, about what are our lives. And I say lives because the politics of our lives are going to look like. We got to decide what this country's going to look like. We got to decide what our cities are going to look like. Because I'm at the point now where I'll be honest, my wife has a running joke of, man, like when you were just doing Carter Media Group, 100% of the time, you're making money. You're doing pretty well, Dante. And I get it. And I'd love to be back in that place, full go all the time, all day, every day, right? That's slang for every day. But I can't because I'm in a world that, although they say in the churches, brother, I love you, give me a hug, they look and say, man, George Floyd was a thug. And it's like, you can't say you love me and be divorced of the impact that my community is going through. And so when I keep saying we got to be honest about this, we got to be honest because there's nothing that moves in this country, right, that does not have to go through government. Economics, nothing. Where those sidewalks go, nothing. Fixing that pothole, nothing. What education is taught in schools, nothing. There's nothing that comes through that is not being touched by government. And so I don't know how else to say it. Everybody wants to be mad at the people that didn't show up. And as much as I want to be mad, I see an opportunity here. And the opportunity is it's time for us to start running a different type of candidate. It's time for us to get some of these folks off these PTO boards and tell them, hey, dog, hey, shawty, it's time to run. Like people who are entrenched, who are going through real life issues, y'all, I came out of a household, I just got to keep 100, right? Came out of a household where when that bully was looking for Dante, when he was like, hey, man, where Dante at? I couldn't go home, y'all. I need y'all to understand it. I couldn't go home. You know why I couldn't go home? Because my mama wasn't having it. My mama wasn't having it. There was no, hey, bro, come inside, and I'm going to teach you how to duck and dodge the bully tomorrow. No. You know what she said? Don't come home till you stand up to that bully. What I'm telling y'all is we're going to keep going through what we're going through until we start standing up to these bullies. I don't know how else plainer to make it, right? I don't know how else plainer. I got folks in my city mad about skyrocketing rent, mad about development here, pushing their property taxes up, mad about all these things, but they won't go and talk to the people who are causing the problem. And let me tell you, the people that are causing the problem, they don't like Dante. You know why? Because I don't do all this, walking around and zigzagging. No, I go straight to the source. If you impacted my way of life, I'm gonna talk to you. There's a reason why they don't put me on the boards in the cities, and I got text messages to show it. It's a reason why they were fighting to take Juneteenth from us. That, shoot, quite frankly, I spearheaded. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why. Because instead of them fixing stuff, they focused on what? Oh man, he over here build a community again. All I'm saying is, you fix stuff, you ain't got to worry about Dante Carter. But that's what I'm saying. That's the type of energy we're gonna need on these streets. Like, I'm telling y'all, now is not a time to be in despair. Now is not a time to be frustrated. Like, a lot of us are traumatized right now. We got PTSD, and that's why I started off reading this part. And when it says a lot of the best leaders come out of a time of social, economic, and political conflict, y'all, that's real. And out of that conflict come people who become great or renowned leaders because they were victims of circumstance. Why does that matter? Because nobody's going to fight for you that ain't been through what you're going through. And that's what I'm saying. We are putting people of privilege in power. And instead of politics being focused on the people who vote, they're thinking about their own privilege. And this isn't a race thing, y'all. This is not a race thing. I need y'all to understand it's not a race thing, right? Because I don't know if y'all know it, right? But there's a very large group on food stamps that don't look like me. So it's not a race thing, right? I just need y'all to understand that there's a war happening right now over how your way of life will be dictated and determined. And if we don't step up and if we don't make our voices heard, we're going to have a problem. And again, it's not about blaming the people that didn't show up. I'm not saying I'm not mad, y'all, right? What I'm saying is, it's our job to turn these votes out. It's our job to get these folks to the polls. It's our job to listen. You hear me? It's our job to listen. It's our job to do these things. And so what I'm saying is we got work to do. What I'm saying is we got work to do. What I'm saying is we got work to do. So I'm over here streaming on what? 4 platforms? I'm on LinkedIn. So y'all know the LinkedIn folks for the be, well, not all of them, just the conservative ones. This ain't the platform for that. Well, we're gonna talk about it today, man. The only way it's gonna stop is if you get my StreamYard shut down, and that ain't happening because I pay my bills. So we on StreamYard, we're on Twitter, we're on both Facebook pages. But y'all, that's what I want to get out, man. This is, I hope that out of your anger over all these executive orders that were signed comes inspiration, comes strategy, comes a perception of, you know what, if nobody else is going to do it, I will do it. That's what we need. That's what we need. I know my campaign manager, she probably done logged in. She probably sent me a few text messages, but I got my do not disturb on. But and I know she may be like, hey man, you're in the middle of election, turn that down. Listen, y'all, I don't know how to turn it down. And I'm tired of playing and placating the people that don't care about my life. When I say they don't care, they don't care. They're not in the city that I live in with the resources that they have to sit over here and develop this in a place where we're not building bridges. Like, crime is not an issue in the city of Sandy Springs. Do things happen? Yes. But crime ain't an issue. Crime is not top 10. Do we need to fund the police? Do we need to make sure that we've got safety? Yes. But let's be honest about what the greatest threat to the residents are. It's development, because it displaces people and it's destroying the community that was built. And so we got to have a real conversation about what these communities look like and how to keep people in the communities here. It's a travesty what has happened in Atlanta. It's a travesty what's happening in Sandy Springs. Y'all, I don't listen. I don't. I'm probably never going to be impacted by these things, but I care. And I care why. Because I've been through this stuff. I've been through it. I know what it's like. I know what it's like struggling. I know what it's like being a young college student coming out, not being able to afford rent. Like, I know I've been through all of that. By God's grace, y'all, I'm here because statistically, Dante Carter should not be here. I'm just keeping it 100. Statistically, Dante Carter should not be here. I should be dead. I should be in jail. I should be back in the hood. I'm not there. And all I can think about, right, is this promise that I made to God when I was 9 years old, saying that if somehow, some way he got me out of it, I would work my tail off to make sure no other kid went through what I went through. That's what my candidacy is about. That's what this fight for me is about in all areas. It's a lot of y'all out here who got similar stories. I need y'all to give similar effort. We need y'all. We need y'all. We need y'all. So I don't want to ramble. I don't want to take too much time. Look, man, I just wanted to put some stuff out there. I love y'all. Y'all, if y'all can, you got the funds, you got the means, please donate to my campaign. They coming. They mad. They already sending text messages, y'all. But we can win. I've been up here in No Fulton in Sandy Springs for a hot second. I ain't gonna tell you how we gonna win, but we gonna win. So like I said, if you can donate, I'll drop a link down in the bottom of each chat here shortly as soon as we wrap. But y'all listen, I love y'all. Keep fussing, keep fighting, but turn it into something, y'all. Organize your neighborhoods, organize your communities. The change we seek needs us. Period. So, I gotta get ready to head to another meeting, y'all. I love y'all. Want to take a quick second to do that. Boy, StreamYard gonna make your boy super effective this time around. Cause you know what? I'm gonna go live myself. I don't need the media. But love y'all. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all later. Peace.